Hey there everyone, it's Diana Lane, Intuitive Transformation Coach, and I have a very special guest today, and I want to show you my passageway that I lovingly created. Love. And you see these lights over here? Here's Baby Thug Gabriel. I actually programmed these lights and I have it behind my display. This is the #1 value, and I have my special guest who is in the room. I want to show you. Sorry, in the dark. So, energy to heal the world is love. Hey Nas, thanks so much. Hey BJ. So I have a special guest in the room. I have a special guest in my room. And before I introduce her, I want to tell you a bit about her. And her YouTube video garnered like 500,000 views, 500,000 views minimum, right? That was quite a while back, so I don't know how many views it's gotten up right now. And hi, thanks for tuning in. If you have any questions for international renowned healer who's traveled all around the world, she just came back from America. She was filming a movie called the Qigong Summit. Hi. And I'm in my office right now, and she's really excited to come on. I've got a lot more to share about her. She was actually helping Deepak Chopra's nephew in then they was like healing in the cancer, like the tumor reduced in size.
A golf ball size protuberance overnight. It's not a cancer, but it was a growth.
Oh, it's a growth, right? It was a growth on her shoulder.
It's gone overnight. I have to make some addendums to your music, to your information about the movies. I think the movies.
What movies, darling?
I wasn't making a movie.
Documentary?
Yeah, Quantum Chi. Are you still on Quantum Chi, which is a 9-part television series?
Well, you know what? Without further ado, I haven't switched the screen yet. And this is a painting by Molly Han that she painted many years ago for me, and it was sent from the US. So a shout out to Molly Han as well, who custom made this for me. All will come. And so without further ado, okay, I'm gonna shine the light on you.
Oh my gosh, we have so much fun when we're together.
You know what?
Hilarious.
Facebook is so clever. They asked me if I wanted to tag Amelie Yee. So clever.
You're so clever.
And so we are in my office, Miracle
This
Falls.
Beautiful backdrop.
Yes. And okay, does this work? Okay, we have so many questions for her. I am propping up on my anatomy textbook.
Oh.
See if it's better? Is it better?
It's good. I like your backdrop though. How about?
Hi. So here I am with international renowned energy healer Amelia Wai-Ching.
Hello everyone. It's always good to be with Diana. I tell you, we have giggles and
Lots
we
of
go
fun.
party, we go dancing.
So we have a clubbing at home series, right? But the two of us clubbed outside, like
Yeah,
in
really,
Clark Key.
for real.
So two energy healers clubbing.
Ladies' night.
On gin and tonic.
Gosh. No, there were 10 drinks. I don't know how people could do that.
So
I don't do that
both
anymore,
of us hadn't
but-
gone to a ladies' night since forever. And so when we went to one ladies' night in Clark Key, we were stunned that, wow, they give so many free drinks.
And women should not be drinking those many drinks. No. I've helped too many women in all the different clubs.
Really?
So, yeah.
Oh yeah, she
Like
said
in
she
Zoo
used to
comes
help. So you used to hang out in Zoo. That's interesting.
That was my hangout. And before that, it was chinoiserie in those days and Barbarella.
Wow.
Yeah.
Can you?
I know. Those
So-
days, good old days.
I'm so curious. Like, how did you start this journey into energy healing? For me, I'm a baby in this. I only started in 2013. My journey started like a few years ago.
It's just a moment, you know, you're just remembering. You'll be like that, you're way ahead. You can't actually tell, you know, in a soul's initiation, you really can't tell whether, or we should not be comparing who's ahead, who's behind. You know, it's just in that one moment of sincerity, everything comes. So that's what happened to me in this practice, you know, leading the story, is that, you know, I grew up like this. I grew up with a lot of this, with my mom, especially, you know, with the aunties, and they were all the Peranakans, you know, the crazy women.
My grandma's Peranakan,
Well,
but
there we go, already. You're halfway there. So they used to make like bedak sujuk, you know, that is like the white rice powder on the face according to the full moon. So they would do that, and great cooks, and they would go around with frankincense around the house.
frankincense,
So-
yeah, burning of
Yeah.
frankincense around the house is something my
resin.
mom used to do
See that
regularly.
too. Yeah. So
It's a
we've actually
practice from
inherited
Catholic
it.
Church.
Catholic, all cultures would use essential oils because they actually change the molecular structure in the air, and it actually does protect people from bacteria and all kinds of infection. But not only that, speaking esoterically, they clear negative entities or energies, you know, whether it's generated by the people of the household or by an external influence. So these work, and so we grew up with that, right? And then we are natural. So, and my great grandfather was a Chinese physician with the Sultan of for the Sultan of Selangor.
Chinese physician as in TCM.
Yeah, acupuncture, herbal
So
medicine.
did you grow up being exposed to these therapies?
Actually, not. You know, interestingly,
Yeah.
I didn't even know that my great grandfather was a TCM practitioner till a few years ago.
Wow. And so, and your grandfather?
Yeah, no, it was my auntie who came to my mom's funeral. Well, my auntie from my father's side, from the paternal side, who asked me what I was doing. So I said, well, you know, I'm technically an energy healer.
A Ghostbuster.
We digress, which is not quite digressing, but really, you know, I was on the cover of a newspaper as Madam Glam Ghostbuster. So
Oh, that's a cool name.
I know. Actually, no, funnily, I have it here because I was showing it. You want to see it?
Yes, of course.
Okay, I have to climb over you
Sure,
to
go
go
ahead.
and see it. And
Oh my goodness.
yeah, so that was really funny. And
So she was doing space clearing earlier today, and
no
yeah.
mentioning of who and where.
Of course not.
Highly confidential. I do it for hotels, spas, residences, some movie stars,
Ooh.
government officials, and so on. Ready for this?
Yeah.
Have you seen?
I speak to spirits and angels. Meet Madam Glam Ghostbuster. You need to get this laminated, framed up.
I look at it, it's like,
comic. New paper used to be big in Singapore.
yeah, I know, and sensationalists. I actually refused the interview with them.
Wow, it's so beautiful. Oh, I'm glad you did it. It's this Sunday, 2nd of October, 2005. Wow.
Your doggy is playing with my hair. I told you.
Are you
by
sure?
scratching, and then some kutu will jump on my hair.
Amalia's hair is so long. I think it
Here it
measures
is.
2 meters. I didn't know it's so long because she'd always put it in a bun, like a really thick bun. So it's also her weapon.
Nunchaku with my hair. Okay, as usual, women, we digress. So what were we talking about? Energy, right? Oh dear.
I really love this. I didn't know. I really didn't know. Madam Glam Ghostbuster. Glamorous Ghostbuster. Okay, that's her.
So glamorous at this time, like that.
Um,
So, you know, I really, really didn't want that on. And then when yeah, no laughter. And I was in Thailand actually doing a detox in this lovely A-frame on the beach. And then my brother wrote, you know, oh, you're on the front cover. I said, what? And my dad took it to church. I said, it couldn't be that bad, right? So anyway, those skills run in the family. So I do that work now. So I go clearing and blessing.
That is still a jump from TCM to...
Not really, because actually in teaching like Qigong, right, Infinity Quantum Qigong, in my curriculum, I actually teach how to clear space. It's just as important. You see, whether it's at home or in a hospital, right, energies get transmitted.
Yes.
Yes, especially in hospitals.
Yes.
And hotels. People are actually trained to change sheets, but they're not trained to clear the energies. And as you are an energy healer too, you know that it has substance, the ectoplasm and so on. So over time it gets built up, and it can lead to a condensation of energy, which also can lead to activity like a poltergeist activity or ghost activity.
Okay. Yes.
Right? So whoever you're waving to. So a little entity of like that.
No, it's all my
Nizam.
friends are tuning in. So
Hi Nizam.
Thanks for
You
tuning
do
in,
that.
everybody.
Yes, thank you. So actually we in Asia, we are very much accustomed to these practices anyway. Like mandi with flowers.
I love Mandi Bunga.
Yes, mandi bunga is so lovely. You just feel so much better now.
It feels so fresh, so alive.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it's like I love to... So it's energized water, and then we also add in like information we want to transmit, like abundance, abundance, and then after that, or relieving pain and aches in your body. I remember doing it, and significantly, like my ache reduced by at least 50%.
Yeah, it's quite amazing, isn't it? That actually we are learning in energy medicine that once we clear the etheric body, even the thought forms, the emotions, that eventually the physical aspects do catch up. And sometimes quite instantly, So it is true to the model, the new physiology is no longer just physical. We have anatomies of emotions and thought forms, and then also the anatomy of the etheric body and karmic anatomy, which then now what's exciting with holistic medicine is that now we're able to look at all that and then be able to access the information, but for the individual, because no one single person is the same as the other.
True.
So this is the true meaning of holistic medicine. Yeah. So we have to access all this information.
When did you start? So you got into newspaper in 2005. How in the world did you... how old were you when you first started? And did you have a regular job before?
Yeah. Before I was not so regular. As a flight attendant, it's not that regular. So, and I was in the restaurant. I was a business in the culinary consulting in Asian foods, and I became known for my fusion style in San Francisco, and then also starting to cook with mostly organic foods. That was in 1987. And did quite a lot of catering for some well-known people.
I didn't know you cook.
Yeah.
And that's a lot. I was going to ask her this question on whether she cooks because I wanted to invite her to have a meal in my house, but I didn't know what she ate. I didn't know what she ate.
I can cook as well. So in the cooking now I'm a culinary consultant for designing menus and energetic menus. That means using superfoods for people with cancer, for example. So I've come to that because I've cooked for my mom and my aunt and for myself. So I'm fairly careful about what I eat. So I test myself and my clients with applied kinesiology.
Right.
Right, to make sure that they're not like gluten intolerant, lactose intolerant, citrus.
Yes.
We just drank a juice and then we realized that, it had orange in it. Both of us are sensitive to citrus. But we transformed it, didn't we? When we talked about it. Because with energy, you can transform some of the molecules and some of the energetics within it with some interesting technologies.
So she was an air stewardess, and then she became F&B consultant and specialized in organic food, and now designs menus to ensure that it's energetically strong and wonderful for you. Then when did you start this?
Well, like I was going back to the story, the Peranakan women, they love cooking, and so I grew up with that. All the use of herbs and you know the timing, and as well as like stirring into the pot where we all discuss that the how the dish is coming along. And whenever we went to a restaurant, we would do reverse engineering. So we would go home and try out the recipe. So there was that kind of a practice or mindset, you know, to food. It's actually, we treated it almost like chemistry. It's alchemical chemistry. So we look at all these alchemical processes, especially in the body now with Qigong. It's actually internal chemistry. It's biochemistry. It's alchemy. Like how we work with the ATP and the mitochondria in our cells, how to create energy. How to create energy within ourselves without too much reliance on external food. Even.
What did you study?
In school?
Yeah.
General arts.
But your knowledge about science, I studied this in university. I studied human physiology and studied biology, and yet you're very familiar with these terms. Like, when did you start?
Well, actually, you know, I've always been interested in that biology, but even more since it became more applied. When you live life and you can use information that you learned in school,
That's
right?
the
It was
reason
like
why
that.
I studied it, because I found it so directly applicable to my daily life. Like, I can use this to benefit myself.
Right now you mean what you're studying about.
I chose to study biology and human physiology because I thought it was the most relevant, because it's about your human body, you know?
Exactly.
But you learn it because you're super interested in...
I think it comes, what's really interesting now is like how to translate Qigong energy work into quantum science, quantum physics, you know, because it's not really defined even by the scientists. There are certain experiments done, you know, on how whether something exists without an observer being there, and also the particles and waves, you know, model, and the different dimensions. That is just symbolizing the different dimensions of our realities. So when we do healing work, again, we go into these different dimensions, including, if you believe in it, past lives, of course, some future lives, and even beyond that. You know, that's where we access this information. And going back to childhood, we were accessing information like this. Children are really sensitive to it, right? In different dimensions, different entities, their unseen friends, invisible friends, and their sensitivity to foods. I never believe in forcing a child to eat anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you see that, whether it's supposed to be good for you, but it's not always good for you. For example, honey is very, very bad for me. And for many people too. And yet they think it's a good food. You know, I just worked with somebody, husband and wife, who had pots of honey. They collect honey. And both of them were highly allergic to honey. Poor things. And they're always having this cough and cold, right? Always bronchial issues, you know, and lots of phlegm coming out. The honey was causing that, besides the mold.
And the funny thing is that I did try to follow, like, you know, the leaders in the health world. And I think one of them was David Wolfe. And David Wolfe was highly recommending
Bali,
honey, bee pollen, all the honey products.
Bee pollen, deadly for me. Propolis, you know.
So yeah,
royal
he was
jelly.
recommending all of these products: royal jelly, propolis, honey, and he was recommending chocolate, you know, dark chocolate, raw chocolate, all of these things, and avocado, and he calls himself David Avocado Wolfe.
Yeah.
And I remember experimenting, and I'm not feeling good at all. And I was like, okay, I think everybody has a different constitution, and different affinity for different foods, and not, you know, one diet doesn't suit everybody. So you need to figure out what suits you. And she does kinesiology to figure out what's strong for you and what's not so good for you. Yeah.
Yeah. So I call it holistic nutrition. And it's been amazing. People change within 3 days. You know, the well-beingness of it change within 3 days. It's quite amazing. And then after a month, really big difference, especially those who are sensitive to gluten and milk, for example.
Do you have any questions? If you have any questions or comments, please add them, and I'm following them. And if you're there, give us some encouragement, like thumbs up and hearts. I appreciate it.
There were lots of hearts just now.
I know. Thanks very much.
Great.
And so...
you want to go back to childhood, or how it started?
Yes.
I think that's very key, you know, that all of us notice who we are as children, what we love to do.
Ooh.
Yeah, when used to love to run in the fields and so on. And I would eat every single plant and leaf. I'm surprised that I'm still alive, you know. So I love that. And flowers, and we had a garden. I would eat all the raw vegetables,
On
you
your
know.
own?
So yeah, on my own. And this was where we lived in Penang. And there was this beautiful.
I'm
We lived in a
amazed.
2-story
Nobody
house.
told you that it's not safe to.
Thank goodness. I explored a lot.
I'm so glad.
But you know, the old herbalists, I think I think quite a few of them had adverse effects because they would try these things. Or they would listen. Okay, this is more respectful. They would listen to themselves when they were trying the plants. Because at one point in 1990, I became so sensitive. Like you asked the story how I came to be. In 1990 was very much a turning point. And I became so sensitive that I would meditate, and then my inner guidance would tell me to go out in the terrace and look at the plants. And then the plants were speaking to me. They were telling me to go to the fridge and take milk.
Right.
At that time I was drinking milk because I wasn't enlightened about this yet.
Mm-hmm.
So I took the milk, and the plants told me to take the cotton wool and put the milk and wipe the leaves. So I was like, okay, I know I'm crazy anyway, right? Doesn't matter, you know. I love and accept myself. So I did that. I just got into it, and it was just such a beautiful blending with all the plants. I was growing on my terrace like 6 different kinds of lettuces. I had cucumbers and even little baby eggplant, little crêpes de bois, little strawberries. And so, you know, I had lots of that, and they were so happy, and I was happy. And then later on, I read in a book on organic farming by Rodale Press that to prevent aphids, you wipe milk on the leaves.
I already kind of knew the answer.
Exactly.
I didn't know. Like, I just intuitively knew like you were doing something right by the plants.
Yeah. Well, I end up also making flower essences. So I was on Channel News Asia for that. So I make special flower essences for my clients. Not the essential oils, but flower essences, like the bark flower remedies or beige flower remedies. I also made
So were you reading a lot?
I read very little. I should have been guided to read very little.
So hard to believe.
It's from the
Hi,
inside.
Dr. Tam. Nice of you to join us. He's Star's vet. But
Star's here.
Star hardly ever gets to see Dr. Tam because Star is super healthy. Thank you.
Yeah, it's napping now. It's lovely.
And so I'm finding out about how Amelia White Chang started, and she was just sharing about her childhood and how she would eat all the different plants and leaves and roots and bark and berries.
And I would pound them together too. You know?
Like medicine woman. I've never heard this before. So whatever you're listening to, I'm listening for the first time as well. So, and it's funny because I was walking past this store, the pharmacy nearby. They were selling some plants, and I saw, oh, there's mint. And I pluck a leaf and I taste it, and I'm like, that's not mint. What did I just eat? And I panicked a little. I went into the pharmacy and I said, excuse me, that's not mint. What is it? And then, she said, lemon balm.
Oh, yes.
Lemon balm.
Lovely lemon balm.
Edible? Thank you, Google. It is edible, and it's...
And it's delicious. You put it as an infusion. It's really lovely. But I should test you. I should test you for it to see if you're okay with it. Yeah. Not online.
But anyways, back to your story.
Yeah, I have lots of stories. And also, you know, like space clearing and blessing, I used to be really sensitive as a child to energies coming at me, you know, like this tiger coming up the stairs. And I thought, oh my goodness, you know. I never told people this, of course. And then
how old
when
were
I was
you
little,
when you recall this?
5, 6 years old. And then I think maybe 8 or so, I would sleep. I would tuck my bed covers in.
Yeah.
Adeline, sweet. So, hi, darling. So I would tuck all these sheets in there because I could feel that they were coming to tickle my feet, you know?
All right.
So I would tell my grandma. My grandma says, oh, don't worry about them. Just send light to them. So at an early age, I really learned how to dispel the negative energies.
So your grandma knew this information?
Oh, yes. my grandma, and her mom came from Thailand. So I grew up with stories of black magic as well, and yeah, Diana's mouth is wide open now. So that's why I help to dispel black magic with some people right now. That's also me. At this time, it's really key.
How
to
come?
that. How
Why
come?
why do you say it's really key this time?
Well, there's a huge battle in the dark and light, you know. Adeline says there's a free jade egg circle tonight, 7:30. Look, mine. I'm glad you caught on.
She caught on.
Because you saw it with at the presentation, right? That I did at one of the shows. Yes. So Sage House. Okay, so Adeline is. So we'll just give a nice promo. Adeline's doing a jade egg event. Oh, I have a funny story with this. You know FHM, the magazine, for guys in London,
Of course.
and the TV show. Well, I was on it,
Adeline, don't cartoon na you.
demonstrating, simulating this.
Really?
Yeah,
Simulating.
simulating, not simulating, not just pretending.
Pretending that you put the jade egg up.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh my goodness, we're having too much fun. We're just generating too much energy, too much.
Adeline,
yeah.
don't joke. You already have so many rose quartz. Okay, then. You know, this conversation is so interesting. Thank you so much. That I'm going to have to review all the things that Emily has shared.
It's going live, right? So you can't edit, you know. We've exposed ourselves already.
Yes, we exposed our little jade eggs.
all the sisters. Yeah, it's fun. You're always fussing with your hair, so I've always got to do that. My hair is not right today. I'm getting cringe. I just had my hair out like that.
Okay.
And so now I have a whole basket. Oh, okay.
Ellen was saying that she was still waiting for the rose quartz egg
Oh,
from
right.
you.
I should get
But
that
meanwhile,
for
she
you.
has a whole basket full.
Well done. All used?
She's saying she would really like to introduce you to the group because she keeps mentioning you as being the person who introduced her to the jade eggs.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, funny lah.
Oh, we have to get together. The sisterhood, yes? And then soon. Adeline should be worth more.
It'll be worth more
You've
when you put
energized
in.
it. The used ones. You should charge them more for it, okay? I'm charged with it.
So, wow, so I'm hearing your childhood is completely different from mine, you know? It's like, and it's okay. And like, it's completely different. She was so exposed to it. Like,
Yeah.
she was really sensitive, you know, her
Yeah.
grandfather and great-grandfather were in TCM, and your whole Peranakan family was very into cooking, and you were really into plants and all of that. And
Yeah, that's why it's a
you would feel
natural.
spirits, and your grandma was enlightened enough to tell you to send light to them and to be calm, and rather than to dismiss what you were seeing and feeling.
Mm-hmm. Because she was seeing and feeling the same thing.
Oh,
Right? And actually that, at age 16, when I went to Lake Toba with my mom and auntie, we walked into the room and the three of us felt like crying. And then for the first time, I realized that there was shared experience, a collective experience. So I rely on that too. Sometimes when I have to do clearing, I call in help. Or I always take, let's say when I'm on a job.
What was that shared
The
experience about when you go into a
crying.
space and you feel a certain way, like you either feel like crying or usually it's tears? I
Well,
think.
when there's people like us, you know, we pick up empaths, we pick up energies, right?
Right.
And we're meant to. We are meant to. So don't be afraid. So I'm training people to do the work if they have to. Don't be afraid of that, you know. So it's like you know what to do and helping clear the energy matrix of the planet because there's been so much darkness that has been created here as well as much as light, so that and Dylan tell all the hantu stories.
I don't think so.
I have a lot of hantu stories.
We'll keep the hantu stories episode for another time.
Halloween, candlelight, with my hair down. Pontianak stories.
I did share about the factory.
I did scare somebody at camp when I was in school. The poor guy, he had a heart attack. We were in school, and they talked to me and said, "Put your head down and scare him," and then we did. It's very bad.
Oh dear.
And ask forgiveness for that. So anyway, we did. My mom, my aunt, and I, we had that experience, and then after that, I was a flight attendant.
How old were
as
you
we said,
then?
16.
All right.
I was a flight attendant, so of course you stay in different rooms, and there were many different rooms. You know
Yes.
that things happen. So I one of my biggest clients are hoteliers, developers. You know, to clear the room. Sometimes in the hotel things happen, whether there was a murder.
Did you inform them, or they come to you?
They come to me because I only work by referrals.
Right.
Really. Or not only, but mostly, or write-ups by journalists. Usually journalists who have experiences with me already.
Right.
I don't advertise. I don't, it's all by referral. So, with results. And I am really grateful for the people who actually wrote testimonials, because it took time and heart to write, and most people don't. So, and certainly not celebrities or business people. They don't make it a habit to write testimonials for people.
But do you notice? We want to get back to the story, but I wanted
which
to
story
ask.
is that?
Your Lake Toba. And
Oh,
then
the Lake
moving
Toba
on.
one. That was it.
But
Different
do you
end.
notice that people are coming forth more? Because in a sense, you're a pioneer to have started so early on, right? In a sense.
Well, we're all the same. Actually, we're all psychic, spiritual beings. So I wouldn't say I'm a pioneer in that. There are no real new ideas, in innovation. Maybe just a different form, a different name. So, I mean, these people claim to be number one. No, we're just here. We're just, making improvements, refining it, like even in technologies. In a way, what I'm pioneering is that I started a consulting firm in 1990, actually, on these things, for ghost busting and for holistic nutrition, for even massage, energy massage training in the spas. So that was 1990, already into 96 when I came back to Singapore.
But we're jumping. So at
you wanna
16
go
years
back?
old.
Oh, okay. Sorry. This is quantum. Past, present, future. Shh, in one.
Oh no! We need to do this again, part 2.
Okay. Carry on. What do you want to ask?
So yeah, in Lake Toba, you were in separate rooms, and then you had different experiences. And...
No, we were not in separate rooms. We actually, I think I was 16, so I with my aunt and mom, so we shared a room. So we walked into the same room, and there was this heaviness, and then I felt like crying, and then my mom would speak to my aunt about that, crying, let's change a room.
Yes.
So I was like, oh, okay, I felt the same thing. Yeah. So there are situations. Since then, I've cleared a lot, like the killing fields.
But how did you learn? Like at 16 you knew, then at 17, 18, what happened?
Actually, I don't know. I suppose I did it naturally, like with my mom and my aunt. Nothing really happened. More when I started flying, then there were some rooms that had even a cross on the door telling cabin crew not to go into that room.
A cross, not like a crucifix.
Like a crucifix cross, like a
Right.
Jesus Christian cross,
Right.
Or even the word gets around in the airlines that some of the rooms are haunted, so not to accept certain rooms, especially in Jakarta.
You
Bangkok.
went into the airlines,
Mm-hmm.
but how did you start to learn how to clear and,
The thing is that we do it naturally. We do it when we are out of body. Okay? We actually do it out of body. We don't know, because where does the soul go when we leave our bodies, when we sleep?
Okay.
What do you think we're doing? We're doing clearing work, right? And so, but one very clear time was in Batam, when I went with my mom and dad with the Charlton Park Residents Association. So I had nothing much to do. So I went with them to Batam. It was a little trip to there. But that was actually a turning point too, because there were quite a lot of shadows. And later on, I went back to Batam to help clear the sex trafficking issues there. It's, you know that,
No.
I don't know whether I should say this, but Batam is Singapore's sex and drug trade, offshore drug and sex trade industry. So later on, when I was with UNIFEM, we went there to work with the Yayasan, the foundations, you know, to do counseling, to explore how to help the sex workers, and also to look at the trafficking issue here. And there was also a convention in Singapore on the trafficking issue that time. So I'm just seeing where I should go, because right now I'm very much working with that field as well. Now I'm clearing the whole issue of that. So going back to that time in Batam, I didn't realize it, but when I was in the hotel, my mom said, "Oh, this hotel is so dirty." So she actually started cleaning up the toilet, the bathroom, you know.
So physical cleaning helps as well.
Yeah, my mom was cleaning it with a toothbrush as well. I said, "Oh, this, ooh," you know, because we went with a group, right? It's not exactly high-end hotels, you know.
Okay.
So she was cleaning, and that night I had a dream that I went through the entire hotel cleaning it. There was light, and I was like throwing these light threads and light bombs, I call them, into the room. So I had this really vivid dream of me doing that.
Wow.
And I woke up thinking like, I did this, I know. And that day I was really filled with like this light chi, right? I felt really good and happy and like just when after I practiced Qigong. So, and this is very important in the end. What I learned is that before we do this kind of work, which is what I train the counselors to do in Batam, is always fill yourself up with prayer and meditation before they go out and do the work, do a protective shield. So I was going around my day with my family and the whole group, and then one woman, she was actually a Filipino house help, and she felt really sick, so I started working on her, like doing some massage, and then she went like that, you know, and so in this shudder, she just felt far better.
Yes.
And then I started getting nauseous.
Oops.
What happened was that, yes, the entity transferred to me, but I had to learn it. I was like at lunch and I was like, whoa. So I had to do my clearing. So I learned clearing. So it's on the job training.
That was intense. So you were flying.
I wasn't flying then, I don't think.
You flew. What was the turning point? 1990?
1990, a lot happened in July in Singapore and in California where I was living. I think this happened on one of my vacations back here. Yeah, so around that time. So a lot happened. I mean, I can tell you a magical mystery tour from that time that is really inspiring. It's still happening now. So it helps me deal with this density, this lifetime, and this world, you know, and bring in the light and bring in the healing. If we can just go back during our meditation, that's why it's important to meditate.
So when did you start your meditation practice?
Actually, I started. Hi, Shwari. Hello, my love. Hi. So I actually started learning Qigong and Tai Chi with my mom in the temples. And my aunt was also a yoga practitioner in Kuala Lumpur, one of the first few who was featured in the newspaper. She's about 75 now. And so, yes, I came through that lineage in the bloodline.
She was a yoga teacher.
She was a yoga practitioner.
Yoga practitioner?
Yes, in Kuala Lumpur.
And she taught you?
She taught me some, yes. And then she actually had a fitness center, and she did some energy work too. She's still doing that, actually. She's turned vegan completely, 75. And she was actually the first one to introduce me to the Lord's Prayer, and now we have evolved beyond that too.
Wow.
Yeah,
so
she's quite amazing, Auntie Ivy. always growing this way. That's why it's important to now, we're bringing in leaders and masters for the future to make sure that their education involves energy healing, energy work, and more subtle energy. Okay, you can just call them subtle arts, because the world is getting more dense and it's more challenging. We have to be even more discerning. Being careful about what we say, what we do, and especially what we watch on television and on the net as well.
I totally agree with you. So I was learning from Master Zhang in 2013, and he was saying about the 5 thieves, 5 thieves of our life force or energy is through our 5 senses. So what Wai Ching was just talking about is like, be careful with what we see, right? Be careful with what we smell, taste, hear, touch, and feel. We should not be addicted to doing any of the activities too much. Like in terms of like seeing, we also should expose ourselves to more natural light, and rather than, for me, I'm kind of affected by the bright lights that we see everywhere, or looking at your computer screen for too long. Like, be discerning, because it's your life force. Be discerning in what you're looking at, for how long, and be more mindful of the things that you are watching, hearing, saying.
Yeah, so true. And that's why I'm so committed to the Infinity Quantum Qigong, which I'm presenting. It's a bit of a mouthful, but within the name is, yes, exactly. It's the symbol of infinity, and that came through. That's a nice story too, how it came through, the infinity. And actually, I was told to put quantum, and I didn't want to because I didn't know what it was. Then the more I studied about it, the scientists actually don't have a real answer for it either. And it was exactly that I discovered the relationship of the yin-yang symbol and the S-curve within the yin-yang symbol. And then there's also the dark and the light within the dark and the light, the black and the white. And the yin-yang symbol, actually it's a sine wave. If you place one on top of the other, it becomes sine waves. And then what does it become? It's a double helix of the DNA. And then there's all the same as the circles. If you just do that that symbol, create those grams with that pictograms, they actually become that, and they symbolize our body and meridians and how the energy moves through the matrix in our bodies. And then the Bagua, the hexagrams, is actually the binary code. It's our on-off code in our bodies, in our DNA. So that was really fascinating when I received that in a meditation. So I don't know. That's why I don't read very much, and so I get it's better to access the Akashic records or the correct book of life.
But surely, did you explore many different modalities for yourself in terms of your search?
I did. I sort of played around, and then I would move away from it. Then it would get integrated later on, to the point where I would do many things like the energy work, the transmission into the food, into understanding organic permaculture, biodynamics, farming, and the difference with hydroponics, which is not supportive of our fertility, in both creativity and fertility.
Yes.
So I was studying all that, and then it led to studying the environment and ourselves first of all, and then it led on to technologies, which we have some here, on how to balance the destructive energy of, let's say, the phone with something positive. I don't know whether it's the right time to bring this out, but we have a scientist I'm not going to name, has worked this through in creating this, and this energized phone cover, as you know, it balances out the negative electromagnetic fields of the phone, which is such a destructive apparatus. Very useful, certainly, but we are moving ahead, we're evolving. So what it does is that it actually transforms the phone into a healing tool. So you're amazed by it too, right? So you can talk about your experience with it, and it can transform. Oh, it protects not only the caller but also the receiver, and then transforms juice and drink and everything. That's not quite the cover, but that's just only a mock-up, yeah.
So this is the, what do you call this?
energized tempered glass. It looks like an ordinary tempered glass, right? But it's been, shall we say, imbued with a 432 megahertz, and that's based on scalar wave. And really, you know, I get very concerned when I see children just playing with the phone, even their tablet and all that. You just have to stick one at the back of it, you know, for everyone. Just make your...
On the front of
it's
the phone,
not
right?
launched yet. This on phone, but if it doesn't match, you can stick it to the back in size, and the model, you can just stick it to the back.
Okay, so I'm just going to share with you what it does. It protects your DNA and brain from harmful cell phone radiation, and
all the benefits here,
yeah,
including if you use creams, and it changes your molecular structure of the water. Oh, you want to read it?
yes,
Okay.
protects mobile phone radiation, especially the whole area of the phone where the radiation emits directly to your face and head, and protects. Interestingly, it protects the user and also the person you're talking to.
Who wants to see it on camera? There we go.
Produces transfer wellness frequency remotely to protect recipients.
Yeah.
Produce
That's
calming
all that.
effects of resonance. Improve microcirculation in your body.
Yeah. It's a healing tool now, the phone.
Improves taste in beverage. And so just earlier we tested with the cold pressed juice that I made. So in this juice, I cold pressed juice, so many different fruits and vegetables within it, and we both had a taste, and it was a bit strong, like very citrus. Like I put lemon, I put lime, I put grapefruit, and orange. So like the whole host of citrus, the whole citrus family, pretty much.
No pomelo.
And yeah, and so what Wai Ching did was she put the juice on top of the glass for a few minutes, and then after that got me to taste the one that without and one with, and the one that's been on the glass actually has a smoother, improved taste, and it's lighter. So it's pretty interesting. Okay.
Yeah, and your mom too tasted the difference, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's quite interesting because we just have to, you know, pass this over the food before we eat. Usually when we say a grace, right, it takes about 7 minutes actually for a transmitted thought to change the molecules of a substance.
Mm-hmm.
We did actually
So
research on
we can
this. I
certainly
love the scientific
bless our
aspect.
food. We can bless our food for sure. So Wai Ching is saying it takes 7 minutes for
Correct. According
prayer.
to like Dr. Leonard Lasko, who I worked with here, and I hosted him here in Singapore, and in the hospital actually. And he did research on cancer cells in petri dishes, right? And that's why I love working with scientists as well, and discovering my own scientist mind. The whole biochemistry, biology, and even math is now becoming interesting for me because this is based on the Fibonacci spiral, based on Tesla free energy, right? So, yeah. Hi, Prasad. Come visit me. And then, you know, with the spirals, that's why this is actually a spiral energy. And that was also when I received this energy for my Qigong in Robson Harrington Park in San Anselmo in California. The energies came through and it was just spiraling. So my spine was spiraling and undulating. So that was created from that understanding what's embodied. So always from direct experience. So I believe in not so much book reading. Unfortunately, you can tell the people who have too much book reading because they understand or intellectual, and then, you know, they're not really embodying it, right? So, gangster math, it sure is, yeah. Well, you know, I'm happy to introduce Dr. Carlos Orozco as well. He's amazing. You know, once he started writing, I asked him like, but how does it work? You know, people ask me, I say, I can't explain it just like he does. So he starts with a right angle like that, and he puts the right angle. Then he continues, and it becomes a spiral. It's like a nautilus. It becomes a spiral. It describes it. And then before you know it, the whole board is filled with formulae. And then he said, like, and then we come back to here, and he rubs it off. I say, oh, no, this is genius here, so I've got to. Then he says, oh, you can do it again, you know. So anyway, I'm very honored to work with people like him and other scientists as well. And part of my role is actually just to talk about it and to educate people about it, you know.
So
And I endorse it as an energy healer.
what's a day in the life is like so extraordinary. She's Wai Ching is traveling so much. She just came back from the US from the
No, I'm going. Oh, I
She
can't
came
say.
back from the US
Bit, and I
she's
kept going
back.
again. That's right.
So
Came back from Bali.
So, if you'd like to know more about this, do contact Wai Ching. Yeah.
Very welcome. And then this one too, we talked about water, right? You want to talk about the technologies? The last time we talked. Anyway, this also is made from crystals, and they do pretty much structure water, and they have been amazing in agriculture. And also, this is my shower unit, so I take it with me. It's still dripping.
Apologies, I was using it later. I was using it in the bathroom earlier just to test it out.
Yeah, and how did it feel?
I'm sensitive to. Why are some people not sensitive to?
Different things, and different people are sensitive to different things. You know, it's like taste. You know, some people taste salt very acutely, and some bitterness. In children, you give them broccoli, you know, they cry because they can't handle it. Have you seen those? They were so cute. Some of the videos.
I think
it's and also it tastes differently. It depends what you want.
the cheap ended. The Chi disc.
Oh, this one. Oh, okay. Yeah.
So both of us. Okay, she's the energy one-stop shop. Well, I think both of us, we just have a different number of products.
I have that too.
She has this. I think she has the newer generation. I have the glass one. So one of my friends. Ooh. Look at the lighting effect. Yay! Look. Oh, this is our.
See what's
we should
happening?
have a disco.
Oh, phew, it's a lot of energy. Phew. Do you feel that? My own.
Okay.
Oh dear.
So this was I thought this was a bit odd, right? But just like what Wai Ching said, sometimes theory is one thing, you can see all the science behind it, but you got to try it for yourself to see if it works. And for me, they experimented with. I'm gonna switch off the light now.
Yeah.
Oh, it looks so
That's
pretty.
a lot. So we're transmitting to you, everybody.
Beautiful
Oh, I have
energy
some.
hugs to you guys. Okay. Feel calmer. And so they put salt. So we tasted salt, ordinary salt, sodium chloride, and then we put salt on the Chi disc, and they wanted us to see the difference. And that was my first time. I was like, wow, the difference is huge. When you put the salt on the disc, it becomes so much milder.
Yeah, mellower.
Yeah, mellow.
And actually, interesting. It becomes mellower, but it becomes more complex at the same time.
Right.
That's how I taste it. This actually, it does the same on this, on the phone, on your phone,
So it's structuring.
on the phone. Yeah. Remember, this has completely transformed the phone into a healing tool. If you put it on you, it doesn't hurt you, but it can help you. Like this. If you can bless your food. Okay, we go back to 7 minutes, right?
Yes.
Okay, 7 minutes. If you are going to eat a meal, it get cold, but you're going to transmit for 7 minutes. Actually, saying grace is far too short. 7 minutes of intention.
So
Usually,
I think one of the keys is to cook with love. That's why food cooked with love tastes so
tastes
good.
so much better. Yeah, so good. And then no negative. But sometimes some of the hawker stalls, after I order something, I go like, ooh, I don't know,
Me too.
So I want to clear it, and then...
So I've got a funny story. Like the best porridge ever from Serangoon Gardens. I used to have it, and normally I just eat porridge when I'm not well. But this porridge was so delicious, and I would always have it. And I remember one time the stall holder was in a bad mood, and he wasn't really focused on the food. And I got the porridge from him, and I was wondering, like just like she said, we're not sure about the food anymore. And then I took it home. I took one spoonful, and I could not eat it anymore. It was tasted so bad. Same ingredients. Just different information, different energies within the food.
Also, I was with a group of people, and there were all these dishes, and there was one dish I just could not eat, and it was a vegetable dish. right? And I could not eat. I just didn't. They got sick. I didn't. They ate that. I didn't eat that dish.
I feel that way about some vegetables as well. Like, for me, I think we can taste it. I don't know if you're aware, but for me, I'm much more sensitive compared to my family members. There are some foods, like, I think there's metals inside, there's pesticides that is way too obvious from some Cai Fan hawker stalls, right? You know, when I get the vegetables and I feel and I can taste, it's so strong of pesticides. Natural vegetables actually, you know, organic vegetables actually taste sweet and taste really good.
Yeah. Well, going back to holistic nutrition, that's why we need to ascertain, you know, and learn to test for ourselves, which I teach people before they eat. For example, I had a juice, fresh juice and so on. I got so sick, and because of the celery, and celery has a lot of pesticides on it.
Right. It's part of the dirty dozen in the world.
Yeah. And
fruits and
strawberries,
vegetables.
Unfortunately.
So we're gonna talk about this device. I tried this device in my shower, and I felt the water change. It felt more sparkly.
Yeah.
Or fresh. So what White Ching says, it's the secret to her luscious, beautiful, soft. And you see, so I had to ask her if she had white hair. I'm like thinking to myself, she must have dyed her whole hair.
There you can see some here.
Just a little bit. For
it's coming at 61.
And she looks so vibrant, so beautiful at 61. Such an inspiration to everyone. Her hair is, I think, like probably 4 times thicker than mine.
I have the natural shedding, though. You know, not to be so worried. You know, that's natural shedding that occurs.
No, but were you born with thick hair? Oh, you did Qigong when you were a little kid.
Yeah. My hair was black, and I had. I wasn't a kid like
this. Little kid started doing Qigong.
I had like this. My little hair was like that, you know, and grew up with Indians, and so they grabbed me and put coal. It was kind of cute. But I had really good skin, and I maintain it. I think, you know, I try to. So
she's far more beauty conscious than me. So for me, whenever we're with the ladies, I'm like waiting for her to doll.
I don't doll that much. Look at that. I have no makeup on whatsoever.
Okay, she's beauty
like
conscious.
Yeah, definitely. Hey, listen, I'm health conscious too. Okay, I think what's important to say is in 1990, I could have had cancer.
Huh?
Did you know that?
No, that's what she means by 1990 being the turning point.
Yeah. It took me 6 months, meditation, and, you know, slow down, guys. You know, you have to go within, do your forgiveness work, do your loving work, and don't sweat the small stuff, as they say, you know, and learn the techniques.
Wow.
You just, whatever techniques they are, learn them, and just, they're good for you, you know?
Is 1990 the turning point, like, whereby you started... At first you had to heal yourself, right?
That's the time it took. And then miracles happened with me, not only within, but I was able to do this healing work for others just with a wave of my hand.
So,
and
how long did it take you to heal, and what kind of cancer do you mind?
Ovarian.
Oh.
Yeah, my mom had ovarian cancer. My aunt had ovarian cancer. So, and I learned now so much. Don't tell me the aunt that
did yoga, or is
no,
it a different
it's a different one. When I know her emotional body, her emotional matrix, and my mom as well. And
so is it an ancestral pattern?
Yes. So that's what I do with healing people, is doing ancestral, familial, timeline patterning with women, and also the collective. I had a major, just only a few weeks ago, really heavy healing. I won't mention here. So it has to do with what's happening in this world right now. And so we did a clearing, both the client and I.
Yeah.
We did a prayer and a clearing for all women and children.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so so we did that. And so it took me about 6 months. And very interestingly, I became vegan naturally.
Okay, naturally.
Okay, naturally. That means I didn't try another. And then my energy body was very light. So I support that. But also, as soon as the energies came in, I wanted to eat more like meat. So I needed the grounding.
The moment you got stronger.
Like Amalia, you know, the energy came in. The ability to do the healing work.
Right.
So that also led me to question many things. So we need to question everything, that we are not the same each moment with each breath. we actually transform, and that actually teaches us not to be judgmental about anything at all. So in terms of food, we need to adjust what we need. And the Native Americans, they invited me to be medicine woman of the East, in the teepee. They taught me how to pray for the animals. So especially animals if you're consuming, so if we choose to, yeah, and to do that work as well. So I learned a lot from them as well. So anyway, what I'm trying to say is that we have to watch in terms of holistic nutrition what we need to eat or not. So anyway, during that 6 months, I lighten up, and most people need more lightening up than being heavy. Yeah, and definitely eating a plant-based nutritional program is much better. Okay, but not necessarily, because many vegetarians are eating lots of tofu, and then you find them sensitive to soya beans or legumes. A lot of uric acid, build out in their joints as well. When I stopped eating tofu, I felt so much better.
Wow.
So yeah, and I can't eat lots of tahini. See, we can't really say that something is good for somebody. So it's watermelon or coconut water, excuse me, but lots and lots of raw vegans are drinking loads of coconut water.
And what I
And
don't
it's not
like
so
is that
good.
they're drinking the ones
from the box.
my face.
Yeah, but even if it's fresh,
I really honestly gave all the coconut water that was in the stores a try, right? I really gave them a try. Like so many people, like the yoga, the yogis, and the hip, trendy, healthy people. It's like really trendy to be with the coconut water in the bottle. I tried them all. Not one is nice. Not one.
Yeah.
Just go natural.
Me too. Even the natural, if the substance is not positive or strong for that person, the person will test weak. It's not right for them. Or they might even just know it. They say, I feel bloated after drinking coconut water, right? Many do.
Sometimes you just know it before you even eat the food, and that's why
Exactly.
you just naturally
Not
refuse it. Or you take a first bite and it just doesn't feel right, so just don't eat it. Listen to your body. For me, I find it fascinating. I've got a fascinating story. Since I was little, I never liked cheese nor wine or bread. These three things. I never liked them, right? But I would eat it just for the fun of it. My brother and I used to fight over cheese in the fridge that my dad bought. It's just like a little competition. We both, I don't know, I didn't even like it. And we would just eat the little triangle cubes or the tubes of
yes,
cheese.
I
Do you remember
I
this?
I do. Oh
the
my.
cheese that was in the triangle.
Oh.
That
And
was
so
so
many
funny.
children have so much phlegm because of it. They're eating the cheese, and it was amazing when I cleared all that. Hardly any.
No phlegm
No
anymore.
mucus.
No
No mucus
stuffy
forming
nose,
food.
No.
And you? What did you?
No
Okay, what's your
sinus.
story that you used to fight over cheese?
No, it's just simply I never liked cheese nor wine, right? And I remember I found myself in Italy on this Tuscany tour.
Yeah, I did a
And
whole
it's
month.
like, wow, Italy is the place, the paradise for food. And I'm thinking, what nonsense. I don't like it because one of the meals on the tour was a hunk of cheese, bread, and wine. And people were enjoying that. And I'm like, I cannot eat a single thing. I don't like the cheese, nor do I like the bread, nor do I like the wine. It's these three. And I was really curious. And I also think to myself, what's wrong with me? Why are people enjoying the cheese? Like the cheese board, it's like, it's served on first class,
Yeah.
cheese fondue, blah blah blah, right? And now there's cheese toast everywhere, and I'm like, I don't get it.
It's mostly unhealthy for people. And can I jump in with this? Are you
Yeah,
done?
sure. But I did a hair test, to test whether I'm, what foods am I
Right.
strong to, and what foods are actually
Hair
not good for me.
profiling.
Yes, hair
Yeah.
profiling. So I went to Dr. Saravan for this, and then he sent my hair to the US lab, and I got a pretty comprehensive computer
Yeah.
report, and it said that I'm allergic to those 3 foods that I naturally avoided.
You were more sensitive than I was. Because when I lived in France, I was just eating all the baguettes with lots of butter and camembert, gorgonzola. And, you know, I would go to the cheese store because I was into the experience, right? I wanted to immerse myself into the experience. So I ate everything French, you know. So it was all these cream sauces, and I took cooking classes and wine classes, oenology and all that, you know.
Sounds very good, classy. I'm not meant to be.
Well, darling, I was always so sick. I always had like flu, you know. I felt like, I was dragging my feet, a bit achy.
Oh, so funny.
Yeah, and I was allergic to all this as well. Even now, red wine, bread, wheat, yeast, and the bread, the cheese, right? Oh, I tried everything. But when I ate Vietnamese food in France, where I lived there for a year, I felt like energized.
Yes.
I felt so much better.
Yes.
Yeah. So I didn't, it wasn't clued on. This was about, this was 1973. I mean, I was 26 years old.
When she was
26,
flying.
36, 46. Well, 26, 36, 46, 56. About 40 years ago. So we didn't know about these things. So, you know, please, you know, avail yourself to all this information. It's amazing. I love evolution. That we have this. I wish I knew this when my aunt and my mom also was that. The applied kinesiology, for example. You know, or even hair profiling, which a lot of my friends do as well. Dr. John Rogerson, Eric Banks, you know, they do all
Eric
that.
Banks too?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, you know, it's quite interesting that we have all this information with technology. So we honor technology and use technology for the best of humanity, and not, you know, the AI. It's all here to stay. It's the whole balance of things, you know. The camera, the internet, we're going live like this. So let's use it carefully, you know, like that, all this. So, actually this is interesting. 6 of this around the room actually creates a quantum field. You can see that, no? Just bring them to the camera. It creates a quantum field. That means everybody who steps into that field is protected on the phone, on the computer. Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I put 6
Oh
of
yeah, you did try
this
it.
energized tempered glass in my bedroom, and I feel alive. Like I feel like I'm in a forest. You know, the air is really fresh. Yeah, you just feel like it's really fresh. So
It's really interesting.
one-stop shop, energy shop.
And I'm only endorsing it. I'm actually fascinated with all this, you know.
And I'm
not a seller.
really happy and pleased to be like an ambassador of any like health, vibrant and health, longevity, life force enhancing products.
Right. You know, like me too. I've been doing so much research. So I have a sort of a platform called ancientfuture.edu. So anyone who is researching, just get in touch as well. You know, we need as much information as possible that we can share to freely, whether you believe it or not. Just try it out, and it's all possible for different people having different conditions, that we can just shift the cellular structure, and we know we can, either through water, through energy, through sound healing, right? Or light languages, you know, we can. Crystal bowl, yeah. So let's try all of it. Just to encapsulate, it's all called vibrational medicine. And one book that I highly recommend is called Vibrational Medicine by Dr. Richard Gerber. That has been
Vibrational Medicine by
Dr. Richard Gerber. It's the most amazing. He just wrote it and just left it. He didn't go on tours. So it's on starting the scientific information. And my dear friend was Edgar Mitchell. And he started, he was the 6th man on the moon, an astronaut. And he started quite a few research programs onto psychic healing, energy healing. That's now fully integrated, yes. When he came back, he had an epiphany when he was on the way back from the moon, and then he started all this.
This entire interview is lighting me up.
enlightenment, when you feel lighter,
Oh my
and you're bringing the light, and light has information, right? Laser light, you know, that's what, when we do the work. And in all cultures and religions, we talk about the light over the dark. So the light has new information. There's a new matrix, and that's the work that I do, is that when we breathe in light, and then that has new information. If we would just listen to ourselves, that's all really, that's not needed, but that's very much the base. It has to be the base, no matter what we read or what discern or what someone is telling you.
No matter what we read, no matter what people are saying, we still need to listen to ourselves.
Yeah, and one can be skeptical, but as long as one not closed to...
Skeptical but open.
Yeah.
Is a good way to be. Like, you know, you can be skeptical, but try it and see if you really benefit and it works and you feel stronger, you feel lighter.
Yeah. And it's all part of evolution too, that if we can remain open in our hearts and our minds to something new. And, you know, when people who have been closed and then finally they see the light, so to speak, or haters, you know, or racist people who actually start to learn to love, they really can feel the difference, right? You know, we've seen that.
Talk
in
about
the hearts,
people that open their hearts and transform. I love Queer Eye on Netflix. It's about transformation. It's about 5 gay guys helping straight guys transform their lives in different ways. So there is an interior designer that transforms the room. Then there is a stylist that transforms the clothing. There is a confidence coach that, like a coach, empowerment coach, that, you know, if they're shy or having, you know, nervousness, or they're awkward around people, or they're held back doing something, you know, he helps push them to get out of the comfort zone. And then there's a chef to help them eat cleaner, fresher foods. And I think there's one more. Is there one more? Oh, yes, there's another one that talks about grooming. So there's 5 guys on Queer Eye. I highly recommend it. I'm not really inclined to watch any TV series. Like, I don't want to, because I know all of them are addictive. They're all designed that way to keep you watching.
It's okay if they're you know, some of them, they're all very useful, actually.
So, yeah, but time is precious, so gotta be selective. Okay. So I highly recommend Queer Eye, though. I watched 2 episodes, and I was crying, because you can see the people that they transform in every way. You know, in terms of their self-esteem, their physical environment, improving this physical environment, transform the way they moved around the world, transform the way they interacted with people, and they open their hearts to other people. It's so amazing.
You know, taking the gay, heterosexual, you know, nuance away, the veil, I think there has to be a lot of opening of hearts with men in general, men's spirituality, men supporting men, you know, to be more heartful, to be more vulnerable, to be more sensitive, you know. So that's what I'm seeing this as, beyond just the you know, their preference, you know, of sexuality. That's
shows like seeing. That is like, you know, healing the world one person at a time, but actually they not just one person. I think like tens and thousands of whoever is watching it, I feel like will be moved. And what happened, one of the shows which I cried was the black empowerment coach was having a private conversation with the straight guy who's actually a cop, a white cop. And they were talking from each other's perspectives about racial issues, the violence of police against some black guys. And so they were both uncomfortable, but they had an open heart-to-heart conversation. And I thought, oh my goodness, that's so healing to see. And I'm so glad that they had it for all of us to see. And so part of the reason why I'm so into Facebook Live videos right now, thank you for agreeing to do this video with me, is just to really send out good vibes, you know, good information to lift one person at a time, whoever's listening, you know, because it just takes one person, and that one person will influence the family. The family will influence the community. Community, society, nations, worldwide.
I'm doing your thing. I'm doing my hair too now. I so agree with that. And spending, in actually sending good vibes. And one reason why I'm not on a lot is because I'm on a lot with my clients around the world on the different means of communication. So I'm actually on screen quite a bit with people and doing the healing work. So I'm becoming more public now, let's say, and becoming more overt in my experiences. And there are some of them that are quite, I haven't even shared some of the very far out ones. But whatever is far out, we have to bring it back in and make it useful for the community. That's why, that police violence or any kind of racism and any kind of bigotry or any kind of authoritarian oppression, has to be highlighted now. And all the shadows are coming up. That's why referring to why we have to do more light work is because the shadows are being, revealed, as you know, in corruption and so on. So we have to be centered and we have to be of good heart and good intentions in our own daily lives, as we are tested too in our daily lives and to what we do and what we say.
I like that what can one person, yourself, do to lighten the world, right? If you just focus on improving yourself, you're actually doing a lot of good. Isn't it correct? Because I think I see a lot of people looking at the bad news and really getting agitated over it, right? Like, who are you helping when you're doing that? If you're part of influencing the policymakers to change something, okay, great, I think we all have different roles to play, so I think it's just important for all of us to be more light in light of there's so much darkness in the world, like you said,
And it's also the natural balance, it's a world of duality where we are, the yin and the yang, so we have to accept that. It's all the polarities and different aspects, not even one or two polarities, but so many, we are balancing. And that's how it is in the different dimensions. So if we can just remain in our center, our spiritual center, our core, that's all that's asked of us now. Because when we can do that, miracles happen. That was what happened to me that day in the Qigong, like the energy came through and the energy went out.
What year was that?
So 1990 in July. That was in the park. That's how the Qigong came through. And then I was able to do healing work and then able to affect different healers and leaders in the community. And we are working with so many people now. As one heals, others heal. So that's all we have to do really, besides taking action when we can. If we can make a change. And rather than not just complain about things, just take action or even just being quiet and actioning the intention.
Yeah, there's power in the group meditation, right? Like there's an X number of people in the meditative state. It's going to be really helpful in lowering crime, right? That's one of the...
Yep, in prisons, it's been shown, and in different homes, like for sexually abused women. By the way, I also do 8 o'clock morning, anywhere in the world, 8 o'clock at night, and then midnight. I tune in. So if anybody wants to tune into a meditation during that time, even with healing work, so can just send me a photo or a condition, or a location, or not at all. Just do it from wherever you are. 8 o'clock in the morning, 8 o'clock at night is infinity, and midnight, right in the middle. So you're welcome to do that as well, to tune into what is already out in the...
You do it on a daily basis?
Yeah. For everybody, during my meditation. At bedtime, actually, at 12 midnight, if I'm not.
What are some of your daily rituals that you don't do without? So we've introduced like a whole bunch of energizing products, right? So energizing is restructuring the molecules around us, the air, water, our foods, and you can even transform. You can transform what? Mobile phone radiation.
Transform your phone into a healing tool.
So does this always remain cool, or are you just not affected by, like when you're on the phone, it doesn't...
Yeah. How does that feel to you?
I mean, it feels really cool to the
Yeah.
touch, and it's a nice.
It's amazing that since I put it on, usually after a while, I feel like I have to get it away.
It becomes really hot.
This doesn't hardly
I'm
ever.
so grateful. So I just got iPhone 6 energized tempered glass. So Wai Ching has a whole bunch of them for different phones. So you might want to PM her to see if she's got the energized tempered glass for your phone. Limited stock available.
Really, because when it launches, no, it hasn't been launched yet. So you get it in this kind of case. It's not very pretty, but I'm happy to send you all the scientific information on it, right? So because once, you know how it is with marketing, once it goes into a package and it has to go out in the world and distribution, of course the pricing is going to go high up a little bit, the scientist is trying to keep it very low for everybody.
Your phone becomes a healing tool. You can restructure the water and the food that's around you. Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, I know. And then he's also doing like baseball caps for autistic kids, so we are working on that with helping the autism the kids to balance their brain.
Where are these scientists that you're working with? Are they mainly in US?
No, one is in Singapore actually, and then the other one in the US, and a few in Europe, Russia. She's fantastic. You like Dr. Olga? She's amazing. It's like she's young she's very young and very brilliant.
Will be the third Olga I know. It's like.
Are they all called Olgas?
No joke.
Brilliant, beautiful, brilliant
No,
women.
no joke. I mean, it's a common name that's one.
Diana?
Yes?
Diana.
What do you mean?
The family called me Diana.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh!
Because I was born in 1957. That was the year that Paul Anka had his hit.
So
Diana.
you were named after the Paul Anka's Diana song. For me,
because my mom loved it.
I was named after Wonder Woman. Love will heal the world.
Different generation. By the way, I was called Wonder Woman in school. Because we actually have that womanly, figure. Diana and Diana.
Oh, that's so nice. I
was
didn't know
called that,
this until
literally
just a few moments ago. But the interesting thing is that my first name is actually Sharon. But then I chose my middle name. Yeah.
And you know what I loved when growing up? I loved reading Greek and Egyptian mythology. So there was like Diana, goddess of the moon, and Artemis, goddess of the hunt. And when I went to Greece and Egypt, I had amazing mystical experiences. I used to hide under the bed and just read them. And then when you're supposed to be going to sleep. Now it's the Facebook, right? Or YouTube.
It's so true. The things we do in different times and different
it's fascinating,
eras.
Yeah. And
talking about the different the different technology and how it actually transforms us, right? So we gotta be careful, like with regards to the phone, especially if you have an iPhone, the radiation. Scientifically, if you just look at the scientific reports, right, on the phones and the radiation they produce, the iPhones produce like 5 times more than the Android phone. And so I was actually contemplating switching to an Android phone because I feel like the radiation, like when we shifted from 2G to 3G and 3G to 4G, and I'm like, I could feel it, the intensity and the heat, really affecting me. And I could feel like personally I could not really, I used to type for hours and hours and hours and hours on my PC, but now with my Mac Air, it's like I can't do it for very long. Yeah, and my clients, practically all my clients, their eyes are affected because they've been looking at their...
Oh, people's vision, very, very bad. I'm 61 and I have -1, which is not bad, right?
What does that mean?
It's not bad. I can see. I don't know in optometry's terms.
So basically you don't need glasses or contact lenses.
Basically I can see.
Perfect
I can see, not quite perfect, not 20.
Raja Kayu helps
Raja Kayu.
Ruben, how does Raja Kayu help?
Is it like
I need a huge Raja Kayu. I think it's the
it's
protective wood. I have it. I have Raja Kayu massage tool.
Okay, but you can't keep it on you and massaging while you're typing, That's why we have to stick it to the apparatus. So likewise, I was saying, do as many things as possible. One good way is pure essential oils. If you can just aromatize it when you're working, right, or apply it, so that will create a protective shield. It actually changes the molecular structure in the air, so that you can change your lamp into full spectrum, and your as well as your, make sure that you clean your aircon really well, and the aromatizing essential oils is really important, and you can use this natural air as well. Another thing is that you can do this, or you can wear some of the technology, you know, but some of that one has to be careful. I'm happy to help those who have that to test them, because I've tested with my clients. 4 of them had this technology and didn't suit them at all. So it was actually the reverse, right? And of course, what we're eating and what we're
Crystals
drinking, vitamin C and so on. Yeah, crystals. But some crystals, for example, there has been a callback of crystals, specifically the tiger eye from Thailand, because they were radiated. So you have to be careful with that. And most blue topaz is radiated. Yes.
Oh gosh.
So you have to test the.
Why are they
and I
being
test
radiated?
people to make it look more brilliant and deeper colors. So they're not natural. A lot of these are not natural. So we have to test them. Unfortunately.
And talking about
So
all
even-
these energizing products, this is really brilliant. Like, this is chock full of really, really good information. Thank you so much for
My
agreeing to do
pleasure,
this. It
really.
is so beautiful.
Anytime to.
There's
to
also
help.
such a thing as energized paint. They actually ground this special rock, and they blend it with the paint, and they paint the fall walls with it. And so I was in Dr. Arut Siva's office, and he has like 7 rooms. So I was in his main office, and I felt, wow, I'm in the forest again. The forest feeling, like really, really fresh feeling.
Yeah.
And he was sharing with us it's because of the paint that it has a special powdered rock in it. And I was like, this is amazing. I really want this. And so he shared with me that one other room in his entire office has been painted. And I said, okay, don't tell me. Let me go find it out. So I went to each room to discover if I really could detect the room that had been painted with a special rock paint. And I found it.
Good.
It was pretty obvious.
So crystals are ancient technologies. We've been using it for time immemorial, right? And it has the piezoelectric energy, and each one has a different frequency, right? So this is all, you know, crystal technology. It's basically glass, right?
She's like
And so
amazingly, she knows all her scientific terms.
some of it is like, I'm just learning. I really enjoy that. 432 frequency megahertz. You know, this one, it's infused with 432, which is the same frequency as the heart opening. So it brings you back to the heart. Remember when we do work with the lower
same
centers?
As the rose essential oil?
Yeah. Oh, rose essential oil. How much was that? 392 frequency. The rose is one of the highest, no, and frankincense as well, but the true one. So we can use all these, right, to protect ourselves.
And I cannot wait to use this. So we were mentioning a whole bunch of products, and also plus this. And I want to read the back of what it can actually do.
Which one? This one?
Yes, it's on the. Somewhere.
No, it's not so much, but amazing what it can do to.
You want to showcase some of
the agriculture. You know, it's been used in India, Sabah, and all these tests. Anyway, you can show it. Look here,
Look at this
maybe.
one page.
Take water.
There was one page.
Okay, you saw that. This one. Anyway, this product, if you want to, you can Google it. All this information I'm happy to share. So
I'm gonna get
Robert
all
Pascoe.
the links.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Crystal
this
Blue.
Is what it does. Da-da-da-da. Thank you, Brucia, for naming me Oprah Winfrey of Asia. So
Hi, Bruce. Like that.
So 70 to 90% of the human body is made of water, right? So 99% of the human cells made up of water. And is it 99%? Okay, let me retract.
Different parts.
Different parts of the body contain different amounts of water. So, Chaim Alexander was telling me that the biomolecules has 99% water.
Yeah.
I would love to read the science. I would love to go back to a lab again. I would love to accompany you to see the scientists and the doctors.
Meet.
Okay, so what this does, this is for you to filter your... Okay, it's not a filter. It's restructuring your shower water so that it maximizes... so you can actually... This is the one. This is the cute little one. For,
that's a handheld.
Right?
Yeah.
So for pouring
and
the
these
water
are
at
real
the top.
crystals in there. They're not plastic or you know.
So basically,
whatever.
you pour
glass,
the water from the
just
top,
glass.
and it comes out, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're rare crystals in there. It's proprietary.
So what it does, it maximizes hydration, boosts immune system, softens hair and skin. And so Wai Ching was telling me that when she had no chance to use this
it's showing
in a
up
shower,
well
she
now.
could feel the texture of her hair was more rough.
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah.
And her skin.
Yeah,
I can't-
likewise.
I can't wait to actually have it because for me, when I juice regularly, I feel like my skin is like more plump and juicy and glowing. Yes. So I've not been juicing for a while, and I noticed the texture of my skin change. Okay, now today is pretty good. So. So yeah, because I juiced today maybe, and I've been putting argan oil as well.
Oh yeah, that's nice. That's good.
I do feel a difference.
And another thing too, I go back to the phone. If you put
Perfect
your
for
argan
traveling.
oil, if you put your argan oil on this, it gets more bioavailable. Your creams,
and
that
all
means
your
the
makeup and all your
dyes-
beauty products.
Well, the dynes, since you like all this terminology, it makes the water, smaller molecules, dynes, D-Y-N-E-S, smaller dynes, and so they're more bioavailable, more absorbable. So you can actually wash your face. D-Y-N-E-S, dynes, smaller dynes. Okay.
Wow, gives you silky water as from a stream. So when I was testing the water, it does, to me, it felt more sparkly, like more sparkling. It had more life. And I remember, there's this tool whereby they put crystals and then you stir the water. I think that's cool, but a little bit leche. I'm sorry, leche. But for that tool, I really like the ones with diamond inside. Makes the water
They look
feel
nice.
not just nice. It really gives a sparkling clarity to the water.
Yeah.
Cleans off chemicals in veggies and fruit and raises nutrient levels, aids digestive system, and pets love it. They will have shiny coat and strong immune system.
Oh yeah, when they do tests with pets, the pets will always go to the structured water. Always. And then you can also use this amazing for the agriculture, fish farming.
Yeah.
You don't need the chemicals in product anymore. No antibacterial products needed for animal husbandry, chicken farming. It's revolutionary. Just water. Okay, and even swimming pools, you can get to 0 chlorine as well.
This is so cool. So this is
They're
a
doing
tool called Crystal Blue.
ENT.
Beautiful name, Crystal Blue. It's to structure your water, and I've been doing some videos earlier about structuring water, energizing water, which is changing the structure of the water so to make it more bioavailable into microcluster. So
microclusters.
So I was talking about microclusters, right? So this is what it is. So this looks quite pretty itself. It is water molecules as is, and then when they go through this tool, Crystal Blue tool, or any structured water system, and then it becomes microclustered like this. It's structured water, so it becomes more bioavailable. Ta-da! I think we've covered a lot of ground. We found out so many things. We saw that Amelia Wai Ching was on New Paper in 2005, on the cover no less, as the Glam Ghostbuster.
Madam
Glam
Ghostbuster.
Buster.
What is it?
She only showed the
meet Madam
revealed
Glam Ghostbuster.
the newspaper article when I just said that
all
she said
tattered and
Ghostbuster.
torn. I'm so bad with my marketing. It's so bad. I just have those referrals.
It's all good.
Yeah, I know. There's no need to market. It's
all
like,
word
this is
of
all
mouth.
spiritual service, but we do more than that. We'll tell some more stories later.
Stay tuned for the next episode.
Yeah, we'll tell more stories. Just feel free to contact me for any support or stories.
And also,
I'm going to talk about doing the U.S.
yes,
All right.
what are you going to do in the U.S.?
Yo,
and
okay.
she came from the U.S. She did the Qigong Summit.
The Qigong Summit is actually online, it's global summit, and it's with Shift Network. 46,000 people signed on. Okay.
46,001.
Oh yeah, you are in part of it. Thank you.
Yes.
And I had such an amazing response with my interview. It was really amazing. Now I'm still answering questions and creating workshops around the world. So that's happening even more now. I used to for 30 years, but even more so. And also now, this is really key. All of you can support and all of you can be part of it. We are creating a 9-part television series. It's called Quantum Qi, right? And it's open to crowdfunding or one of these things. So you all can be part of it for even $10. You know, that could help in defraying the cost of producing this. So this is going to come out in the world.
But you've already filmed it, right?
No, it's being filmed. The first episode was just shown at Kripalu Institute in Massachusetts with a lot of teachers. So, and I actually have it, that episode to show you. And then we have a preview. We have a preview.
Can we do like a movie screening among friends?
Yeah, well, this is a preview in the first episode. And then that's for the crowdfunding. So we are working with each segment will have a different theme, including science.
So we can have like a preview night.
Can do, but it's not very long. It's not
How long
done
is
yet.
it?
It's just
10
previews.
minutes.
The episode is about half an hour to 45 minutes. I think we have the first episode, but I'm the an associate producer. My producer, Sharon Rose, says she has to tweak some. So we'll be ready. So yeah, let's do it. We can.
Cool.
Yes, the answer is yes.
Yes.
So the answer is that everybody can participate, isn't it? It's a huge community project. Yeah, everybody for as low as $10, you know, you can just support.
Why are they so passionate about introducing Qigong to the world?
Well, you know, I actually predicted it about 10, 15 years ago that it's going to be the next wave. And this is done by Americans, like Caucasian Americans, because they're catching the wave
So
now.
they made yoga big.
Yeah.
They made yoga huge.
Americans are really good at marketing. We know that. That's
Thank
their
you,
skill.
Americans. But
Yeah,
without
it's the
them-
Atlantean energies.
without them, it wouldn't be worldwide popular, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, they devised Zumba. Zumba is just a combination of like different dance styles and aerobics, and they made it cool.
They
Like,
also created some Frankensteins, you know, like yoga lattes. That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever
I don't know
heard.
what's that.
Don't get me started.
You're the queen of fusion back then, so you should be okay with it.
Yeah, I'm actually okay with fusion. I love fusion, anything hip hop. I love belly dancing, tribal. I love it, anything fusion, you know. But sometimes when you chop off people's real names, you know, to create a form, that was a bit odd. So anyway, I won't mention that too much right now. But yes, I love anything fusion, and also
Qigong.
tradition into modern. What makes it available now? And I've actually taught in many yoga festivals, like the Bali Spirit Festival, the Namaste Yoga Festival. The one in Hong Kong was massive. What is it called? Asian Yoga Festival. So the yoga teachers are now adapting the Qigong methods into their yoga, because I actually had an interview about that. Technically, it should not be. The energetic aspect of yoga should be intrinsic, but unfortunately that had not been emphasized or even highlighted or even be the starting point, unfortunately.
Right.
And so, I mean, look at creating from Tadasana, okay? The mountain pose. I mean, I practice yoga too, so I can speak about that. And I was going to be a yoga teacher, but, you know, it just sort of shifted into something else. So it's a good evolution. It's a good evolution. It's a good to combine the two, linear and flow forms. So they even like Tadasana to start with, or Surya Namaskar, like to straight away to go into an asana rather than to do the grounding, to do the connection, this terrestrial and celestial energies. That's what I've been teaching yoga teachers. Oh yes, yeah, it was Soulscape. Remember the yoga? Yes, in Singapore.
In Sentosa.
Yeah, in Sentosa. Yeah, I was there. So. What's interesting is that with yoga teachers is that I will tell them to do their favorite asana, right, or one that they have difficulty with, and then after doing the Qigong alignment, do it again. It's so much easier and deeper with after the alignment. So that was
Why did the
interesting.
wave of Qigong come about?
Because there was something lacking, there was missing. The simplicity of Qigong is astounding. And it's time as we become more rarefied, right? And more ethereal, more and more people are awakening somewhat. We have the balance. And they're more interested in the more ethereal arts, the esoteric arts. And Qigong itself is so
I didn't understand
esoteric.
three words. I need to check
Oh,
dictionary.
okay, please.
Esoteric, rarefied.
Esoteric, you know what
and-
is that? Rarefied is when something is becoming more fine,
Okay.
like rare,
Right.
you know, like finer. So when we become finer human beings, let's say, we want to go into the finer things in life, beyond what we think as the external finer things in life, like cars or whatever, but finer things in that we are becoming more refined human beings, the deep human, the superhuman. And that means really human. That means we are really feeling, you know, we are really feeling and willing to go into the feelings as messages from spirit, right? God or creator, whatever we would choose to call that energy, and that we are willing to do. And it will always be good. It'll always be wanting to benefit people. When you know that something is really spiritual, the intention is always helping. That's the
Intention
difference.
is super, super important. I remember this, right? Because some people were trying to scare me off practicing the method that I do. Like they were saying, who are you activating? And I'm like, what are you talking about? This is universal, non-religious, nothing, all right? I'm not tapping into any super special power or some animal spirit. No. And some people were trying to scare me. And then I got a little bit scared. I mean, they were telling me, go and check. And I'm like, to me, in my heart of hearts, I feel like it is benefiting. And intention is always pure and to help people. And I improved so much, and my family member. So Wai Ching had a significant incident happen to her in 1990.
Quite a few, and yet in the whole year. That was just one.
And so for me, it was 2013, and that's when I started seeking as quickly as I could. And at the time when I found it, I was like, wow, there's no turning back. This is Chinese energetic medicine. This is quantum physics. This is amazing, revolutionary, so super, super fast when I had tried so many things before. And I remember I'm like, I need somebody to tell me that what I'm doing is okay. Actually, you know, I was in the health festival, the Heart Mind Festival, Heart Mind Festival, and I got my very first reading done. I think it was just card reading, and I was questioning like what work to do at the time, and so the practitioner was laughing, saying that, oh, you're meant to do this work, and I'm like, okay. I was in education at the time, right? And I got up, and this person, an adult, said, hey, Miss Diana. I looked over, and it's this boy who had grown up, and he was, when I taught him, he was in P4. And he's all grown up, and he's dwelled and learned the science and the arts of all of this healing work.
Yeah.
It's amazing. So it's like the student
the
becoming
young
the teacher.
masters are coming in. The children are beautiful. It's so amazing.
And you know what he told me? So I just text him, you know, somebody's scaring me into, you know, this work that I'm doing, right? They're making me question. They just invoked fear in me. And then he said this, be at ease. Because even if you have a good method, if you have bad intention, you're going to get bad results.
Yeah.
If you have, it all boils down to intention. So if you have a good intention, you can end up getting good results. So if you have a bad recipe, but you have a good intention, you can tweak it and you're going to get a good tasting food. So it's intention. Imagine my student whom I taught at P4, and I said, hey, do you remember anything I taught? Nope. Doesn't remember anything I said, what I did, but he just remembers me as a beautiful and amazing teacher, and I made things really fun, and he remembered that, and he loved the subject.
And that's all it is. Also, we are just reminded to be ourselves, right? Our good selves. So even when we talk about shadow side, you know, we all have our dark and light sides. As long as we can witness the shadow aspects
Yes.
and then transform that. It's natural. It's nature. That's how it is. There's destruction. There's construction. So, you know, even I find that the people like us, we tend to be very idealistic, right? Perfectionistic, right? So, and definitely idealistic. And we had to learn a few things about human nature along the way as well. And then we forgive, we let go, we learn. And as long as we come back to our goodness and we can shine the light on ourselves.
Yes.
And take responsibility for our feelings. Like sometimes, like, whoa, where did this anger come from?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, where did it come from? I don't know. Track it, meditate, like see where it came from. Sometimes it comes from another time zone, another life.
It could come from our ancestors, descendants from different time, space, and dimensions, from our past lives.
Right.
Our soul had many lives.
Yeah.
I can't believe I'm saying all this. I mean, this is all
So,
exactly what we had said earlier. It's all about, yes, skeptical, but just discover and learn with an open mind and see if it's true and if it's enough stories to corroborate and if there's enough evidence and enough personal people that you trust telling you and you see for yourself, you will know.
personal analogies too is very important, you know, and it's coming forth. And actually, most of my work now is actually past life clearing. A lot, almost every, and space clearing, like from the past. The buildings that have been built over old buildings, I've been clearing that quite a lot. And one thing I realized, okay, we go back to the cancer part, which is such a pivotal thing for me, is that when I was with a cancer center, and I work with lots of cancer patients, even now, is that there's a correlation between the cancer in their area and a past life. Right? For me, the ovarian, it was a lifetime in England when a knife went through me at that time. So I knew it. Okay, you have to know it, and nobody can take it away from you. So since then, even patients and clients I've worked with, they're not necessarily past life believers, but they had actually went through when they were in deep meditation, which guidance, they went through that and they saw and felt different things exactly in the place. But the interesting thing is when they cleared it, they actually became better, like I did in the 6 months that I spent. So in quantum healing, right, it really is true. And so many of my experiences, I say, oh no, I can't be, but it's true. It's true. But the best thing is when you experience it yourself, and it's the only way to do it.
For sure. Oh my goodness. And I'll be so... I think hearing what you went through in 1990, the pivotal year for you, will be so fascinating. We'll leave that for another episode.
There are a lot of stories. I call it the magical mystery tour. And
magical mystery, infinity, quantum qigong.
Yeah.
Woo!
And it's happening. It's still happening every day. It's just pretty magical, you know. It's really when we are able to rise above this vibration and really bring forth a higher vibration, we can support other people and, you know, lift them. Or there's magic, there's synchronicity.
Oh, my synchronicity.
Synchronos is like it's happening. And even though, let's say, you know, then things are not going right, you're like, okay, why is this happening? So don't get caught up in it, guys. Just ask and just allow it to be. Allow the flow to happen. Just observe and see what's happening and your emotions and what you can do to make it better, you know, for yourself. There's always a positive way. That is the initiation of the soul.
Well, we've gone on a epic journey in this amazing... I was gonna ask her what's her rituals. So I'm getting that you meditate every day and you do qigong every day. Is that correct?
Correct. And sometimes in real life, you know, I don't have like a fixed time sometime, you know. So
you know, I was gonna share with people, like, you know, what do you do? I'm like, everything in moderation. Do mostly healthy, and then, you know, indulge, have fun, enjoy.
Yeah, but you have to come to that part, you know. In fact, there was times that you come back to the purity. I think it's important, especially now, to come back to the purity and sincerity of the soul, and then question every time, what is this? And being aware of each movement. I must say, in the last 2 years, I was challenged. I wasn't so aware because there were other people who were involved in different projects, and I was just trying to make it work, being the peacemaker.
Yes.
You know, and I got caught up in some of them, or I was just trying and struggling, and then I realized now, stepping back, there was also a karmic pattern with these different people.
Yeah.
I said, okay, now I can step back and look, clear it. Okay, now step forward. It has to be that life has a momentum.
It got better for
It's
you
a
when you went
river.
away from it, right? And
Oh yes, yeah. So we can look. Therefore, it's always important to go into what is called a third-party witness. You know, if we can just step back a little bit and not get so embroiled in it, and that's a skill that we have to learn. That being connected, but as well as being able to witness what's going on with other people and being able to speak the truth about it, your truth, right? It's not an absolute truth anyway. So just to speak the truth, and truth with heart will really be healing. It's not to be hurtful, but to be healing, and one has to be discerning. And sometimes it's not the right time to say it even. You know, there's a discernment on how to be in the world. So, hello.
I went on a journey.
I know.
Saying truth with
I
heart,
know.
I
Exactly.
did that
You
in
did that.
2010. That was my turning point in 2010. Truth with heart.
Yeah.
And the moment, some people may know me as being really super direct, blunt even.
But always with a smile and a giggle, though.
Open, direct, and maybe blunt.
I'm
And
known
not
to be
everybody is. Pardon?
I'm known to be that.
You too? So, yeah. So maybe not so
And I'm not
tactful
as
sometimes.
giggly.
But guess what? I've done it. Yes, I'm giggling and all that, but it's with a purpose. I'm testing boundaries. I'm testing if people are okay to actually answer tough questions, personal questions. You know, it's like real questions. And to me, I honor the information. When people share, I feel when you bring the shadows to light, or you bring the darkness to light, or you bring the things that you're uncomfortable about sharing to light, things that you were shy about, your insecurities, when you bring it to light, healing happens. The person immediately relaxes. I relax. It's like we talk about the elephant in the room, you know. It's like, hey, no big deal, done. So I feel like 99.9% of the time, my interactions have improved. Like the moment I made the decision to be open.
Yeah. And usually the challenges come in friends, you know, with friends or family, and that's where the challenge is if we can address all this in a good way, you know, that has good resolution. And sometimes it doesn't, because if there's resistance from the other side,
Yes, of
you
course.
just have to let it go. I call it doing the Tai Chi. So you just have to flow with it and just let it pass and just come back, ward off, you know, this protective shield, come back. It's just a very good metaphor.
Oh, I
when we
love it.
practice Qigong.
And yeah, any last words? We're gonna end really soon.
Are we going to dance? I feel like moving now.
All right, let's do the Infinity 8.
And you can join my group at the Infinity Quantum Qigong on Facebook, YouTube.
And
I'm not very good at the others, Instagram and Twitter. I'm trying to get more tech for a futuristic healer. I need to, because I just don't have the time for that, really.
so you're gonna tell us where
I need
you're
someone
gonna
who can
go?
help me.
You're going to America to do...
Oh yes, the Quantum Chi. We're gonna do more shoots, really beautiful, some shoots in some amazing places. Like when I was in Crestone, I was on this. Okay, it was a crystal mountain. It was a mountain from just crystals, and it was like very, very high. You see that in the drone game, and we had to climb a lot there. Anyway, amazing places, and we do it for real. And when we do our prayers, we do our chi for the planet, you know, something which I learned from the Native Americans, as I mentioned, you know, that we pray for 16 hours at one time. So, so it's some very deep work and some very light work. And join me again at 8 o'clock every morning, wherever you are, 8 o'clock every night, and then midnight, midday and midnight.
Join
Just
in
anytime.
prayer or meditation?
Anything that you wish to do to bring out in the world for yourself. So this when it happened already in 1990, so I was in quite a few magazines and books, so we created a matrix already for evolution. So it's always there, so you can add on all the good work, good vibrations, good intentions, you know. So it's like what they call the 100 monkey principle, that is one person does it, it rolls, right? And then, you know that story, don't you?
No.
Oh, so, okay. The story is that they found the monkeys, that one monkey started washing the fruit, and then the others started washing their fruit too.
And
So-
monkeys in another part of the world also picked up the
Yes,
learning as well.
exactly. So this is like, if we...
So it's
we
like
talk about the
collective.
marketing, we talk about the American marketing, be careful what you're being marketed to as well. You know, some of the words and some of the principles and some of the values, you know, we have to, it travels fast now, everything, right? So we just have to be
That's the
clear.
beauty of the age that we live in, as you were sharing about how, you know, a lot of things are being revealed now, the dark practices and, you know, of the world that's being revealed. And I'm very grateful for social media,
Yeah.
for the people, and for the people who are brave enough to share openly, you
Yeah.
know. Sometimes there are consequences for the people who are the whistleblowers.
Yeah.
I just pray for their protection. I think it takes a lot of courage to reveal who and what's happening, right? The best thing if it can resolve peacefully.
Yeah. And then it's up to the divine plan too, because we are not privy to everything that is occurring, even though some things may seem a little absurd or strange, you know, in the greater plan.
Okay, we're talking in very abstract terms
Yeah,
now.
it is. Life's abstract.
I think it's
Then
time
get
for
back.
us to go dancing and
Yeah.
to recharge.
Thank you to listening. Yes.
Yeah, thanks for listening. But I think for energy healers, I think it's really important to recharge, right? I'm curious to know, what do you do?
A key, meditation. When I go back, it's always inward, always the breath, connection with the higher selves or the higher beings or the creator, and also very important, the connection with the earth. We are so cut off from it. So take your shoe wear off, go and stand on the earth, on the grass. So that's why this
Do
is
you
called
even-
earthing. This is going back to Qigong. It's going back to basics,
Do
guys.
you go barefoot on the concrete? Even that helps too, right?
Barefoot in the concrete? I don't walk too much barefoot in the concrete. Outdoors? Not so much.
I find that the grass in Singapore, the ground, to be itchy.
You know why? I have an answer to that.
Why?
Pesticides.
Right.
Because I saw a video of kids not wanting to put their feet on the ground, and I went like, this is very strange. And then I realized that they probably sense the pesticides on the grass, because like golf courses and grass, they're incredibly, you know, fogged and all that. So that's why I don't feel like rolling around the grass. Maybe in Bali I do, because they don't do that kind of heavy fogging. And I know sometimes you just don't.
I mean, if you look at the color of our beach water, East Coast Beach,
Ew.
right? Look at our response. So
Even in Bali, I just don't. I choose not to go in. Then I find out that there's like all these molecules of oil in it. I don't swim.
yeah. So I grew up
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
near
And
Siglap.
swimming pools.
Swimming pools
I
too?
don't swim. You know why? Chlorine.
How do you protect yourself from it?
I don't swim.
You
Unless you have
wear a
this.
wetsuit. You wear a wetsuit. I heard
Because of
somebody
the
telling me
chlorine, I
that.
just don't feel like going in. I was like, and then you know, like children. Okay, I would say children sometimes when they come out and they have asthma attacks.
Yeah.
Right. When I used to take swimming classes, I used to after that have little asthmatic bouts, and then my mom would say, "Oh, you caught a chill," but no, you know what? The chlorine gas is floating above the water line, and the sun is heating it in chlorine gas and makes you asthma, you know, like bronchially, you know, coughy, and also the eyes turn red. So it's all that. So I remember those days, and I don't swim that much unless it has salt water, or at best this one it can totally clear out the chlorine. So I think there's hope for us in technology. And because there's no point swimming.
Oh, you mean to just install this in the swimming pool?
But a bigger unit.
Yeah.
This is for the shower, you know. It takes away the chlorine, it transforms it. So it's quite interesting. All
Okay, I'm only doing
That's
this
it, the face.
face is only because like so much of our technology is meant to help the world.
make it more
Like
efficient.
DDT to kill the mosquitoes in the first place, right? And then it ended up killing, you know, so many organisms and harming so many organisms and harming us.
Glyphosate, all
Ay,
that,
ay,
you know,
ay.
the Monsanto. And some
So many of the
pharmaceuticals.
technologies meant to help us, right, ended up harming us, and it's like we're polluting the world dramatically, and like having to go back to basics. Organic, I'm like, food was meant to be organic,
That's right. In the first place.
and now we have to pay more for organic food. Water is meant to be free, and
Yeah.
now we have to clean our water, structure our water, and I'm like, it's meant to be free.
And the water is in plastic. And if you put it in the sun, it leaches out dioxins into
plastic
the
is
water.
in water, you mean?
Yeah,
You said water in plastic.
in plastic bottles.
You confuse me.
Okay, sorry.
Oh, the water in plastic.
Clarity. The
plastic.
water is now sold in plastic bottles,
Yes.
which most of it
Mm.
it's not that quality for dioxins to be released into the water,
Right.
and that's highly toxic. So, guys, please don't. Excuse me, I don't want to mean guys. It's too American. So, people, don't put your water
Dear humans.
in hot. Yes, they're humans. Human race. Yeah. No. So
Do not
in
put
your cars or
yes.
that don't your water heats up there, don't. Okay, so yeah, one of those things that we can talk about more and more and more, and how to clear pesticides.
I think we can transform this into like 4 documentaries. But thanks for
Yeah.
tuning in, everyone.
And we will be making these documentaries. That's right. How long have we been at this?
No idea. It's okay.
It's
Time
nice.
has
It's good fun. Yeah, it's flow. It's the flow.
So take care, everybody. Mwah.
Yeah.
Stay strong and see you next
Yeah.
round.
Stay in touch. Find me on Facebook.
Bye.